Collective. Hey, what is going on? Hope you're doing well this morning. So good to be here with you. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive. We're going to do our weekly check-in via the tarot, astrology, any channeled messages, and some Ayurvedic living tidbits. So let's get into it. I'm going to pull this down a little bit. It's been a really interesting week. I hope that things are going well for you, as always. We've moved into Gemini season, which I like on some level because it helps kind of open up some momentum, bring in some new opportunities, some diversity, things where we've been stagnant in our lives or we haven't been seeing a lot of action, right? Like a lot of things coming in to help situations evolve, essentially. And I feel like Gemini season is definitely going to bring more of that into our energy, especially because we'll be having a full moon in Sagittarius, which is all about growth, expansion. And so much of what we've been learning through right now in the astrology, in the collective, is like who and what we're going to be sharing the next stretch of life with. However, whatever that looks like too. Everybody has different ideas about commitment and longevity for sure. But I'm kind of thinking in terms of Pluto moving into Aquarius. It's staying there for about 18 years or so, roughly 2 decades. So kind of how you want your life to look for that next period of time, right? We're a few years into it already. Pluto is in retrograde currently. It just went into retrograde beginning of the month, and it will be there through mid-October. So anytime a planet is in retrograde, it helps us reflect, unfortunately, or not. Pluto is all about death and rebirth, cycles, transition, growth, evolution. And so it has, when in retrograde, it's going to be highlighting those things that need attention, that need change, readjusting. It doesn't mean that we have to cut everything off. That's not necessarily true for everybody. It can just be as simple as, I say that, it's not always simple, but it can be as simple as readjustments. But that is also contingent on everyone willing to do so, right? And so we're kind of like coming into some stuff where we're seeing people, for where they're at, what they're actually thinking, feeling, how much they're actually going to contribute, people, situations. And it's forcing you, us, or the collective, right, to really get clear on if this is meant for you, if this is what you want to be investing your energy into for the next period of time, right? So lots of quandaries, but good things. Part of it is being introspective and actually tuning into what those things are for you. And some of it's just living life, right? Being a part of the experience. So you also get better clarity on what you want. But that's also why I like to start off the readings with an energetic cleansing, just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places we might feel blocked, limited. It's a really good time to set your own intention for the reading as well, especially if you've come in with something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like Spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over, be open to receive. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you would like me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you're interested in more of that rebalancing of self, alignment of your mind and body and your soul, I do energy healing, pranic energy healing, as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. Because when we're feeling strong, grounded, balanced in self, that's where we're able to tap into our happiness, our fulfillment, our abundance. We're able to manifest way easier, right? And we all deserve that. And I would love to help support that for you in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so you may see and understand the messages clearly. Help to make me clear an open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. All right. So I am feeling, I'm going to take a little bit of coffee. It's so good this morning. I can't resist a lot of coffee. All right. So, you know, I am picking up this energy of a little bit of insecurity. Maybe it's like a little bit of hesitancy, like you're not 100% certain about how a situation, how a dynamic is going to shake out. Maybe you have a lot of mixed emotions and feelings around it as well, and you're trying to sort through the right way to communicate. Venus is tensely aspected to Neptune. It's one of the major players right now, and that can make interpersonal dynamics really difficult because it's that value of sensing when someone is not really being completely honest, completely transparent about what they think, what they feel in a dynamic. And so it's hard not to like take things personally, and it's hard not to like attack or assume or point, or like it's kind of like pointing out someone's bad behavior. That's how I'm picking up this energy. It's hard not to do that or take the bad behavior personally. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of what we've been learning this week is it might not be your responsibility as well. And as I'm recording today, the sun is harmoniously aspected to Uranus, which is really good because it gives us the encouragement or the empowerment or the courage to make the changes that we need to. Maybe approaching things a little bit differently. Yeah, maybe someone's pissing you off, but you don't have to clap back. You can actually just say something like, oh, okay, thanks for clarifying, and moving on, right? It doesn't have to be the digs. It doesn't have to be, it can just be a thing where you choose to hold on to your power and either keep it short and simple, step away from the situation, do what you need to do so it doesn't turn into this whole thing. And that's easier said than done this week because we've had a lot of transits that would love things to explode, right? But as I'm saying this, let go and bury pop out. So it is just time to like release certain things that like, it's a broken record. That's how I'm hearing it. It's a broken record. It's, you've been there, you've done that, and now you're ready to move forward. I don't even know if you're ready, but it's time. And I do feel like you've been getting some indicators around this, like Spirit is giving you those gentle nudges to move forward. And not in a way to point the finger and say you're bad and wrong, but in the way that you can become, or you are connecting better with the fact that you are a master manifester. Where we think, where we put our energy is that's going to be the results that we get. And so if we get wound up into other people's dance or the web that gets woven, or trying to prove our point when it's falling on deaf ears, it's going to bring a certain energy with it. And oftentimes that energy is distracting or disconnecting us from what we do need to manifest or what we are trying to manifest. Not that it's wrong to like say your piece, but this is about giving you yourself your own peace of mind. And as I'm saying this, it's like the energy is like calming down, quieting down. It almost feels a little bit muffled. And as I'm seeing this, it's like you moving like into your own headspace, into your own world that people or negative things can't infiltrate. Because when they can't infiltrate, then you are maintaining your power. And this is about your own evolution. I love this. Evolve into your complexity. Not being afraid to be who and what you are, whether or not people have something to say about it, right? And the more we're aligned in self, so to speak, the more we're comfortable with self, the less we're running around trying to get everyone else to approve. And the more we then, therefore, attract people and situations that are actually better situated and suited for us. So this is like a power move. Is that right? I don't know. A power move for yourself. You're empowering yourself. You're stepping up, and some of it is in the face of things that don't feel very comfortable and good, because a lot of it of these lessons are happening in our outside environment, right? They're things that are getting reflected back to us about who and what we are and where we stand in life, and maybe where some of the deficits are actually getting in the way of what you are trying to grow and build. So it is that connection of self-worth, self-love, valuing yourself, respecting yourself. Those are all hard things to do at times. I'm not saying that. I mean, and it's also dependent on what you've been through in your life, but this is looking like, even if you have had people who are trying to push you down or hold you back, it might be as simple as flipping the perspective. And as you flip the perspective, it also helps diffuse that energy. And it can be as simple as like, you know, flipping the perspective. Why are these people coming after me? Why are they attacking me? Why are they doing X, Y, and Z? Maybe, but then it's also like, why are they so fixated on me? That speaks to more about someone else's jealousy or issues within themselves versus like you being bad and wrong. And that's where some of this inner conflict resolution has not really been healed within. That is not an easy thing, especially because there's always going to be things in life that we're conflicted around, and places where the outside world does a really good job of trying to project onto us or put us in a box or point the finger, you're this, you're that, where in reality our soul knows who and what we are. That is the authenticity of self. That's that ability to be comfortable and confident in who you are, to evolve into your complexity, whatever other outside people think, you know? Because in a lot of ways, it is something that's meant to hold you down with this snake down here. It's meant to hold you down. It's meant to hold you back. I don't know. I get why being a hater feels gratifying on some level, but I don't really understand it. And that's the vibe. It's just like people who are hating to hate. And I feel as we're talking about this, it looks like you've been dealing a lot with this. Even if you're not dealing with those people firsthand, it can definitely be within your own psyche, trying to sort through, process through things. We've had that message a lot as well. So the Star and the 9 of Wands, you are coming out a little bit on the defensive. I mean, I think it's just because you have been through a lot, right? You've been through a lot. And this goes back to that Venus and Neptune that I was talking about earlier. Like, if you know someone is being snarky or below the belt or like trying to skeet out of things, it's hard not to call it out at this point, right? Because you're over and done with it, right? You've dealt with that energy enough times over, and you're at this place where you're just like, I don't even care anymore. So that's why I'm going to say what I'm going to say. It might not be the most pleasant energy, and I do think that if anything, Spirit is just saying, like, again, perspective shifts are important. With the Page of Pentacles and your blocked energy for the rest of the weekend, it just looks like it might be hard for you to come out of some of that anger and frustration, even if you are outwardly acting how you want to represent yourself, right? Like, you can be pissed off at someone but still be kind and respectful and whatever, right? And even if you are doing that, there's still this part of you that's holding on to whatever the conflict is inside. And I think some of this is about getting really clear. Healing, the Star comes in as our first card. So that's where the focus should be. I don't know. I think that anxiety or constantly going over a situation over and over and over again, sometimes it brings new insights for sure, but a lot of times it becomes the thing that keeps us energetically connected to that person or situation, right? It ends up being that cord, that energetic cord. And that's where I'm seeing it's like, okay, something is done and over with. It's time to move on from a specific way of thinking, of believing, etc. Because it's no longer like your justice. It's more this thing of just keeping you connected to something that you're ready to move on from. And nines are all about cycles coming to a close. 10 is the closure in numerology, and 9 is, especially with the 9 of Wands, it's like you're almost there. You've been through the brunt of it. And yes, maybe there are some things to address. I'm not negating that. But again, it kind of goes back to the art of communication. What you're saying, how you're saying it, how you're showing up. Are you giving yourself the opportunity to feel or to be confident, to exude confidence when you're interacting with these situations? Or if you're like reacting out of the anger, the frustration, the spite, etc., then that's, again, it's going to project a different type of energy. And one energy is going to keep you entrained into that thing, and then like the other energy is freeing. It's giving you the opportunity to manifest something that you do actually want. And I'm hearing it even in regards to some of the situations that you're dealing with present day, where on this side of things, it might not look like something's going to change, but it actually ends up doing, because you're more willing to position yourself from a space of kindness, love, understanding. I'm not saying you have to be a Nancy. In Ayurveda, and just, I think this has actually even been proven by modern medicine, like when we hold space for love and compassion and understanding, that actually helps the flow of prana, the life force energy. It's actually really medicinal for our physiology as well, like in terms of our blood circulation, our heart health, like our nervous system. You know, it has all these positive effects on the physiology. So don't think it's just like some energetic mumbo jumbo. It's legit. And so it's, again, this value of like, even just being a little bit nicer to someone else or not engaging in the drama is healing the situation. And, you know, I think you're in a space where there is going to be some introspection. It does look like you're getting in some new information over the rest of the week that's going to help put some things into understanding or allow you to reflect a little bit more on the changes that you need to make. And I do love that you're moving with the Death card, because it's like you are making those changes. And I do feel like you're making those changes from that space of love and respect for self. And then, like I was just saying, that ends up carrying over into the people and the dynamics that are around you. Let's clarify this Four of Swords. So maybe being cognizant of your emotions, of the defensiveness, places where Four of Cups, taking something for granted, feeling like the world is against you. Let's see what the... Okay. Like, it looks like you're having a conversation with someone, and I feel like they're trying to communicate, maybe they're trying to stay as diplomatic and balanced. I feel like the exchange, there's going to be some emotions that come up that get triggered in you, just because we've gotten through the majority of the week. There still is some tension surrounding. We have a holiday coming up. Well, if you're in the States, you know, it's getting warmer. The tensions are starting to rise. The fire, the fire energy is enlivening. And so and we have that Gemini, the wind, right, is fanning the flame. So, I don't know. It looks to me like you're dealing with a situation where I do think someone's trying to approach it diplomatically. It does look like they're trying to do it better. The attempts are in good faith, trying to help instead of destroy, and keeping it really diplomatic, like just not trying to get too much in the emotion one way or another. But I also see that being very frustrating for you, not because you want to start a fight, but because it feels like there's aspects for you in the dynamic that are not being acknowledged, that are not being validated. And that's where the frustration, that's where the defensive energy comes into play. And you might even have someone who's like, well, you're being a little too defensive, who kind of like calls you out a little bit in your emotions, and that makes it even worse. Or maybe they're saying like, maybe they're trying to hide true intentions, like that Venus tensely aspected to Neptune. It might be a little bit of projection, like blaming you. Well, that's not what I meant. And like, you're not thinking, like I kind of hear this, like trying to make you a little crazy or out to be crazy, or there's this value of like, you're not thinking about it clearly. Oh, it's about like your own. Okay, so, okay, well that makes sense. So, it's like how to have your own success, considering some of the things that you're coming into without it being at the expense of others. And again, I don't see you intentionally trying to hurt someone. I think you just want to be validated, or you just want your side to be understood, or to just have a little bit more balance. They're sitting here trying to say, well, I am balanced. I am doing it right. I am. And maybe, I think to some capacity, yes. But it also looks like some of the issue is still being missed out on, right? Like maybe some of the core reasons why you're having this back and forth is not being addressed. And sometimes we're in dynamics where that doesn't happen, whether it's just like not worth it to go down that road, or we don't know the person very well, or they're, more of an acquaintance versus someone closer to us, etc. And I feel like that's where this like self-love, self-care is really important for you for the rest of the weekend. Like the more you invest, the more you take care of yourself, treat yourself well. Ayurveda is all about that happy medium, right? Balance of activity and rest, making sure that you're nourishing yourself, that you're honoring your body, good food, gentle exercise, that type of thing. Not fueling the fire, right? Not continuing to like throw wood into the stove, because that is it's gonna, like, what this is essentially saying is if you end up doing that, then it's gonna put you in a position that you're not even trying to be anyway, right? Like, there might be a more diplomatic approach to someone that saves face and then gives you the opportunity to process your emotions on your time, and not necessarily like air your dirty laundry, because something is not necessarily going to receive that well. And as much as you might be feeling like you're getting the short end of the stick in this dynamic, they're gonna be really like strong about how they're holding their boundaries, right? They're not gonna really let you infiltrate, and I feel like they are gonna defend whatever they're thinking, whatever they're feeling, with a lot of diplomacy. And that's where it might not be true. It might piss you off. You might have to like stand up for yourself to some capacity, but also make sure that you're not letting that become messier than what it really needs to be. Yeah, balance and harmony, as I'm saying that 100%. Sorry, I have really bad layers in my hair right now, and they're driving me nuts. Anyway. So, okay, Mars and manifest. Okay, well, and that's the thing. So Mars has actually been pretty tensely aspected in the astrology, where it's like each time we try to push forward, move forward, make something happen, we hit a wall, we hit a block, an obstacle, etc. It's a little bit freeing right now, but it's tensely aspected to Pluto. And so that can be places where resisting the change, right? So it's like if you're going down the road, you've been down before, right? If you're dealing with someone and then you're saying something back or whatever, and then you end up misrepresenting yourself or ultimately the purpose of the interaction, conversation, it's obviously like things are not going to change. It's just looping back into that cycle that you're so trying to get out of. And so when we think about manifestation, when we think about that simple value of where we put our attention, all that means is instead of sticking your head in the sand or only wanting to believe one narrative, one aspect, recognizing everybody has their perspective, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're wrong and they're right or whatever. You can still validate yourself even if someone else can't do it for you. And maybe they just don't have the emotional maturity. Because as much as I don't see this as an aggressive energy, I do see it as someone who, like I said, they won't really admit fault. If anything, they're going to put it back on you. And you might take that personally. Or maybe there is part of you that feels like that's what you've done. And so that's essentially what you're safeguarding yourself from, is not becoming what other people are trying to make you to be, right? Like we were talking about in the very beginning. projection, the way that our external environment can project onto us. And it's just a piece of the story. It's just a part of the journey. Sorry, cheeseball moment, but true. So you don't have to hold on to it too tightly. If anything, this Aquarius energy is going to serve you really well. Uranus is ruled by Aquarius, and it just has this energy of not being afraid to rebel a little bit, to do things differently. And like I was saying earlier, the sun is positively aspected to Uranus today throughout the rest of the weekend, I believe. So it's giving us, it's helping us feel a little bit more confident in making changes, in doing things from that different perception, different lens. It's going to get you way further. It's that value of you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. You don't have to be fake. You don't have to be surface. You don't have to be shallow. You can still address the problems and issues, but in a way that gives you strength and power versus like devaluing what your ultimate goals are. So I hope that helps. Godspeed the rest of the week. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I hope you enjoy the sun and the rain, depending on where you're located. It's going to be half and half here on my end, but we have a little bit of a holiday weekend. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here today. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I'd love to hear, or just say hey, share in a little love, little TLC. I so appreciate all the love, all the support to the channel. Know that it blesses my heart, and I'm sending love and blessings back your way.